We are
Two girls.
on a fast ride. Well, hello everyone, and hello Lynn. How are you today?
I am so great. Marie, how are you?
I'm great, especially about the topic that we're going to talk about today. I mean, it's 100% me. 100% me. I'm a big bag of emotions. So today we're going to go a little bit deep in emotions and business, right?
Emotions in business, yes. And when it's appropriate and when it might not be appropriate.
Oh, totally, because sometimes you really need to keep it inside.
Yes.
And it always depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to your boss, let's say, or your
Yeah.
business partner, or if you're talking to a customer, let's say, sometimes we need to restrain a little bit of ourselves. But let's talk if we're a leader, what would you say, Lynn, that is something we should keep inside and not talk about?
Well, I think that when you are leading people, you do need to give a little of yourself. Like they need to know that you're human and that things happen. And, you know, what I'm not a fan of is I'm not a fan of oversharing. So
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of, wow, I had a big fight with my husband last night. And you know what? He's such a jerk. And I can't believe that he did it. Like, and you're going on and on and
Yes.
on and on. And and we're going to do this and he's this. And if he doesn't do this, do you see what I mean about, kind of going on and on and on? And it's not that you don't let on that you have problems. It's just that you don't go into a whole lot of detail about the problems. And I'm a big fan of making sure that you have a circle, and that circle, you have people in different circles in
Yes.
your life. You have people in a very close circle, and those people, like, you may be lucky to have five people in that inner circle. Five
Yep.
people, and they may be a best friend, a family member, whatever, like whoever that is, that if you ask them to do something for you, they would be, you just tell me what to do. Or if you had a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, who's that person that you would call at 3 o'clock in the morning and they would drop everything, they'd wake up, drop everything, drive to your house and help you deal with whatever it is you're dealing with, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
like to
true.
call those people, they know where all the bodies are buried.
Yes. Which closet,
Right?
which drawer?
They know, right? They know,
Yes.
like so many details about you, like down to your favorite color and down to, right? And then there's that next ring, and those are more, they are friends, but they're kind of on the acquaintance, right? They are the people that you would call up, and you might go out to dinner or a movie or a gala or some kind of function. Maybe you get together with them for
Yeah.
cards, or to play games and stuff like that. They're friends, acquaintances, that you're not going to call them at 3 o'clock in the morning if something goes wrong. Like, that's kind of my test, right? Who am I going to call at 3 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning? And then you kind of have that outer rim that is, everybody else.
Everybody.
So when you're leading people, I would say that those people you're leading are kind of on the outer rim, right? You're not gonna bother them with all the things that are going on in your life. But you are gonna be real and authentic, and you're probably gonna listen to them more than you're gonna talk, and you're gonna ask them questions about themselves. And of course, if they ask you questions, you're going to answer. But what I've found more often is that I'm asking more of the
Yeah,
questions.
totally. And that's what we actually do, especially when we want to talk about our business and help other people improve
Mhm.
their own business. And we're going to ask questions and questions. And there's another type of person that we also have in our circles. It's a friend, but it's also, let's say, they work for us or they work with us. We're leading them, but it's a
Yes,
close friend. So we
yes.
need to be able to separate because I've done it and it did not really go well because my emotion, and you know me, I'm a big bag of emotions, and my emotion was restraining me of doing the right thing for that person because it was
Mm.
a friend.
Yes.
So that's important too. You need to be able to separate your mind into okay, that person is my friend, but she also, I'm leading her to something. So I need
Mhm.
to be able to separate in my brain. And that's hard for people like me to do. Really
Right.
hard.
So what do you do? What have you found that works for you?
Well, actually, I've been reading a lot, and we're going to talk about that soon in our next topic, leaders or readers.
Leaders or
But
readers?
I've been reading a lot, and it's kind of if you are able to shut that window down and say, "Listen, today I am your coach. Today I'm leading,
Mhm.
and we're not talking about what happened with the boyfriend or the girlfriend, whatever. We're not going to talk about our cats or what did we do this weekend, personal stuff. We need to shut down that window. For me, it's hard, and I've been working on that to not, mix it all together because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, uh, that person is still going to be your friend. So
Yeah.
you really need to make a separation in your mind and stick to the plan. Let's say
Yeah.
I'm helping somebody doing overviews. Well, stick to the plan. We're practicing today how you do your overviews. Well, that's the only topic we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And
And
then when this is done, we can talk about
And
something else.
we've had to do that, right? Because Marie,
Totally.
we're good friends. So, I
Yes.
mean, we can get really, talking about all sorts of things that are going on in our life, right? So we've had to put that, that kind of that wall up to say, okay, no, today we're going to talk about what we're, we're going to talk about business.
Our
Um,
plan, our 90-day
our,
game plan and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
We actually, and it went well. We are the perfect example that
yeah,
we were able to separate our mind and say, okay, before we start, maybe we could, how was your weekend and blah blah blah. But once we get into the business topic, we stay
talk
in the
about the
business
business.
topic.
Yeah, that's
And,
it.
and another thing that I've read an article, and but I didn't look for this article. It came to me. Nothing happens for nothing in life, and it's in Forbes magazine. It talks about empathy, and then I said, "Oh my God! Finally, one of my skill is recognized because I'm I have empathy a lot, and sometimes too much, and it drains my energy. I had at some point to do a cleanup in my friends or acquaintances to make sure they were not just taking my energy for them. It needs to go
Yes,
both ways.
yes.
I mean, we live 8 hours apart from each other, but if we would be closer, I wouldn't mind you calling me at 3 a.m. in the morning because you're in trouble. I would
Exactly.
go. Totally, I
Yes.
would go. But it's the distance that keeps
Yes,
me
it
from
would be
doing
my
that.
3 a.m. call. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. But and research has proved lately that empathy is one of the most important skill when you're a leader. So they did some research on that, and they say it always has been an essential skill for leaders, but it takes a whole new dimension and it becomes a priority when you're a leader. You need to be able to struggle with the stress factor when you're a leader, not only for you, but for whoever you're leading. And
Mhm.
it comes really, really close with mental health. At some point, it can affect, and I know it did for me at some point because I don't know if you remember, I was teaching to prospect for my business, and at some point they didn't even do the first step. You remember that? They
I
didn't
do.
even do the first step, and I was keep going on with some training and we did some Zooms, and at some point I had to let go because they were not even doing the first steps. So I there's at some point some things that I can't do for them.
So
So it was really, really hard
you're
on me.
actually talking about a couple of things. Number one of the things you're talking about is when you believe in someone so much that you
Yes.
work harder than they do, right? I don't know that that's empathy, but that's more like, you really you know what they're capable of, which is so amazing, right? They're capable of so much. So you're doing more work than they are.
Yep.
You're planning, you're right, and they're just not. They're just not following through. And that I would say is, another topic. And that topic would be when to let go, right? When to
Yes.
let
Well,
go of,
let me write that down. When
yeah,
to
when to
let
say
go. Yes,
goodbye.
totally.
So empathy is not to be confused with sympathy. Sympathy is where you go to a funeral and you give your sympathy, like, I'm very sorry this happened, right? And I'm very, I'm very sorry this happened. That's sympathy. Now, sympathy has its place. Empathy is when you actually feel like you can be in the shoes of the person
Exactly.
and you can imagine what they're going through. Empathy is when you're walking with the person and it's more than an I'm sorry. It's this really sucks that you're going through this. And I'm here for you. And then you actually, you might bring them food because you know that they're struggling, to get some good nutrition, or you make a contribution to, a charity of their choice because you know that that charity means a lot to them. And you actually find ways that are meaningful to that person. That's how you empathize. But to empathize, you need to be able to put yourself in the position of the other person.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So in
Walk in
our
their
in
shoes,
our
like you said. Yeah.
in our business, we can empathize with busy women.
Yep.
Women who have a full-time job, they've got kids at home, they've got animals, they want to eat nutritionally, they want to exercise, they want to do. We can empathize with those women because, hey, guess what? That's who we are.
Exactly.
We may have more difficulty empathizing with people who give excuses all the time because that's not who we are.
Exactly. And at some point, that's what happened with my two person I was talking earlier about. And okay, I didn't have time. I was not sure what to say. Well, I gave them all the tools a couple
Yeah,
of times, to be
yeah,
honest. And I'm not, it's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just a little bit disappointed. And it's not that I lost my time because it gave me, some practice and some knowledge that I would probably not have today if I did not do those training. And
yes,
at some point, I used to be an employee previous of having my own business, and I was a supervisor for those people at customer service, and I know what they were going through. Sometimes they have a loss in the family, and they were not, up to do their job. And say, well, I take a couple of days off. We'll manage. That's
yes,
for me. That's empathy because I know when you lose somebody, especially a parent or
mm-hmm.
somebody very very close to you, a grandparent, it could be overwhelming, and your
Mm-hmm.
head might not be at doing the job. So if I would to say to somebody, take a couple of days off, we'll manage. Don't worry. Don't think about the job, and we'll manage. I think for me, this is a way because everybody had lost somebody at some point. We know
Yes,
how it
and
feels to lose
empathize.
somebody. This is one
The
of the,
other
yeah, go ahead.
the other emotion you bring up is disappointment.
Yeah,
And disappointment is, can show itself in, well, why didn't you do what I told you to do? Because, I told you what to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can follow what I tell you and you'll get to success, right?
yeah.
And I'm so disappointed that you didn't do that, or, that disappointment comes in. And I'm going to say to you that when you're running a business, um, and you're coaching others to run a business, which is what we do, there is no room for disappointment.
Well, it can be, but I didn't say it. I didn't say I'm
Of course
disappointed.
not. Of course, but it's an emotion that we
Yeah,
have.
totally.
So I'm gonna say that disappointment that you feel, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. When you're coaching others to run their own business, you're not their boss.
Nope.
So guess what? The disappointment, when you can get disappointment out of there, it leaves room for a whole lot of other really good emotions like, wow, you weren't able to do everything, you were able to do this, and you congratulate them on what they were able to do. And I know you're a master at that.
Yeah, I love to congratulate people.
Yeah, you love to celebrate.
Yes. Yes, I
So
do.
disappointment, empathy, what other emotions do you find come up for you, Marie?
Well, let's say sometimes discouragement.
Yes, yes. Tell me more.
Well, the same example, after 3 months of training on the same topic, I was so discouraged. And I was even saying to my husband, I mean, what do they do not understand? I
Yeah,
mean, it was the first step, the easiest one, right?
yes.
What do they don't understand? I am so, this is, and for me, it was overwhelming not to understand why they were not doing the first, because they had a reason to do the business and they didn't do the first step. So why? I always keep saying to myself, why? They have a why, I have a why, but they didn't put the effort. And at some point, like you said, I had to let go.
It happens.
And I was really, uh, in my messages, I said, well, listen, there's no point for us to continue the training because we can't continue the training. You did not do the first step. So it
No,
was
so smart.
really discouraging for me.
So smart, so smart. And discouragement comes in any business.
Yep.
And recognize it and decide to use it as a way to pivot or to launch to the next step. Sometimes that discouragement means I'm not going to keep doing this. Or sometimes that discouragement means I got to do something different. I have to figure out a different way of doing this because the result, you want the result,
Yep.
but the way you're going about it is not getting you to where you want to be. And
Exactly.
when you have emotions like discouragement and when you're, very unmotivated in your business, that's a really great time to speak to a coach. It's a
Yes.
really great time to speak, whether that coach is a leader in your organization or whether I wouldn't suggest a friend, but I would suggest somebody who can coach and who can coach you to your highest potential, because sometimes you have to look at things a different way, and a coach can really help with that.
It will bring you, a coach is going to bring you to the next level.
Yes.
But there's one thing that you need to do is you need to be 100% committed.
You have to be committed.
You have to be
Absolutely.
committed because that
Yes.
person is not going to do the job for you.
Yes. Isn't that another emotion, commitment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Commitment is an emotion, right?
It
And
becomes an emotion because when you commit and you do, when you walk the talk,
yeah,
it becomes so rewarding from the inside out. And when you commit and you do what you say you were going to do, everything puts itself into place, and then you can celebrate because you did what you say you were going to do and it worked.
and it worked.
Commitment is really, really important.
Love it.
Me
We
too.
could talk about this topic for a while.
My gosh, we could spend the whole afternoon together. But I'm going to let you talk about your quote because I know
My
you have
quote,
an
yes, my
awesome
quote
quote.
has everything to do with emotion. It is success is not the key to happiness. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Now, that was Albert Schweitzer. And I love this because most people will talk, when this happens, I will be happy. When I'm making $1 million, I will be happy. No, be happy now.
Now,
Look for what to appreciate now so that you're going to be even more over the moon when the
exactly.
$1 million happens.
And it brings back memory of my favorite quote, which is, don't wait for the perfect moment. Take
All
the
right.
moment and make it perfect. I mean, everything
Now,
is about being happy. Make sure you make some choices that will make you happy. And don't get me wrong, life will always get in the way, but you need to take what you can control and let go of, and definitely when to let go is going to be one of our next topic, that's for sure.
ooh, very
And
nice.
well, this is a wonderful quote, Lynn. Totally. And we have an announcement to make today.
Yes, we do.
On April 17, in a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be live on YouTube. And we're going to do a recap of what we did since the beginning of our podcast, Two Girls on a Fastrack. We're going to prepare a nice recap for you. So it's going to be April 17 at noon. Of course, we're going to talk about it on social media. So mark your calendar at noon on April 17. It's a Monday. So what a great way to start the week, right?
You bet. Great
Amazing.
way to start the week.
And our next topic next week, did we say leaders are readers? So we're going to share a little bit of what we read. Most of my reading is in French. All your reading is in English. So it's going to be awesome for our bilingual viewers. And we are asking you to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notification to make sure you're not going to miss anything. Anything else to add, Lynn?
No, that's everything. And this is number 15.
Yes.
This is our episode 15. So congratulations.
Okay, and congratulations to you. And thank you for helping me making this happen. This is a happy emotion that I feel.
Absolutely.
Have a great rest of your day, guys. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Here we are.
Two girls
on a Fastrack.